Okay, so we're diving deep today into the UK's budget situation.
Right into the thick of it.
Yeah, and we've got some sources here that lay out how the current Labour government wants to try and shrink the deficit.
Tackle the big D.
Aha. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And from what we're seeing, the plan is to raise taxes mostly on the working class and middle class folks,
Mm-hmm.
and also cut back on some public services.
It's that familiar combo, isn't it?
Trying to squeeze from both ends, you know?
Yep, two sides of the coin.
And get this, they're aiming to bring in an estimated £40 billion from these measures alone.
A hefty sum.
No kidding. But here's where things get really interesting.
Oh, yeah, me.
The documents completely rule out a wealth tax on billionaires.
Ah, so that's the sticking point.
Yeah, it is. And to really grasp why this is such a big deal,
Hmm.
we need to talk about the concentration of wealth at the top in the UK right now.
It's pretty wild when you look at the numbers.
It's insane. The material says the top 250 households in the UK are sitting on a combined wealth of something like £748 billion.
748 billion with a B. It's hard to even fathom.
Seriously. And this massive wealth disparity is really what makes the alternative proposal we found so intriguing.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So, tucked away in these papers is an open letter, and it's signed by a bunch of economists, charities, and even some self-proclaimed patriotic millionaires.
Patriotic millionaires now, there's a phrase you don't hear every day.
I know, right? But their proposition is totally different from what the government's cooking up.
What are they suggesting?
Instead of squeezing the working and middle class, they're saying slap a temporary 2.5% tax on anyone with wealth exceeding £10 million.
Oh, wealth tax. That's a whole other ball game.
It is. And the really crazy thing is, according to Greenpeace, who are backing this idea, it wouldn't even apply to that many people, less than 75,000 they estimate.
So a very targeted approach.
Very targeted. But now get this, because this is where it gets really juicy. The potential revenue from this wealth tax is mind-blowing.
Let's hear it.
The material suggests that over a 5-year period, this could bring in at least £130 billion.
Whoa, hold on. 130 billion versus the 40 billion from the government's plan. That's more than triple.
More than triple. It really throws into perspective how much money is concentrated at the very top.
It's a stark comparison for sure.
And the author of this piece definitely doesn't mince words. They flat out call the wealth tax a no-brainer.
They're not pulling any punches.
Not at all. And here's the kicker that I just did not see coming. The material claims that some of these ultra-wealthy Brits are actually on board with the wealth tax idea.
Really? They're willing to tax themselves.
That's what it says, which just blows my mind.
It does make you wonder about their motivations.
It does, but remember, we're just reporting what's in the material here.
Right.
No editorializing.
Right, sticking to the facts.
Exactly. So when you take a step back and look at this whole picture, it really highlights the contrast between these two approaches.
Yeah, you've got the government's plan, which is kind of this broad strokes approach, hitting a wide swath of the population, along with cuts to services.
And then on the other side, you have this laser-focused wealth tax aimed solely at the super rich, with the potential to bring in way more money, and even garnering support from some within that group.
It's a fascinating dilemma.
It is, and it really gets you thinking about the different philosophies at play here, you know?
Absolutely.
When a country needs to sort out its finances, who should shoulder the biggest burden?
Right. Is it about spreading the pain as evenly as possible, or is it about asking those with the most to contribute proportionally?
It's a question that has no easy answers, but understanding the different perspectives is crucial.
Absolutely.
So we've thrown a lot of information your way today about the UK's fiscal situation and the proposed strategies for tackling the deficit.
It's a lot to unpack, for sure.
It is, but what we really want you to walk away with is this sense of the fundamental tension at play here.
Between taxing the many versus taxing the few.
Exactly. And we've tried to lay out the arguments and potential consequences of each approach as impartially as possible.
We're not here to tell you what to think, just to equip you with the information so you can form your own conclusions.
Precisely. And we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought, some new angles to consider as you follow this unfolding story.
Because at the end of the day, the decisions made about who pays what and how we balance the books have real impacts on everyone.
Impacts on our everyday lives, our communities, and the future of the UK as a whole.
So stay informed, stay engaged, and keep those critical thinking caps on.
That's right. We'll keep digging into these issues and bringing more deep dives as the story develops.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Cheers.
And until next time, keep asking the tough questions and demanding answers.
Stay curious, folks.
That's what it's all about.